All right, family, so we're back with another video, and in this video we're going to talk to the freight dispatchers out there, right? As you all know, I have my Trucking the Cash Flow group on school, and I get a lot of questions from freight dispatchers, and a lot of, we have a lot of going back and forth talking about a lot of different things. So it prompted me to kind of make this video, and then I talk with a lot of freight dispatchers just in general that's not even in the group, and owner operators, fleet owners, stuff like that. And the things that I'm hearing and that I'm seeing is I just want to help out. So I'm going to make this video. This video is basically I'm going to go over a couple of things, letting you know what is the common mistakes that freight dispatchers make and why they basically fail in the industry. Those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Marco Perkins. I have a Trucking the Cash Flow school group. So if you want to be a part of that, where I teach and help freight dispatchers and owner operators and smaller fleet owners, right? I basically teach you how to go from 0 to 3 trucks, which in my opinion is one of the best models if you still drive. And then I can help you scale up to around 5 trucks. Anything after that is gonna need more of a special attention. If you want any help with that, or you just wanna join a group, I have a free group, hit the link down below. Come on in, join, introduce yourself, and we'll go from there. Now, with that being said, let's get into the content about basically why most freight dispatchers fail. And I kind of went around on the YouTube and kind of looked at some things, and I don't really hear anybody really talking about this type of stuff that we're going to go over today. So make sure you stay tuned in the video, because we're going to get it in, right? And I might even have to do a part 2, because I don't want to keep you long. I want to go over these type of things, right? And give you some solutions. That way, when this video is over, whenever you're watching it, you can actually jump straight into it, fix these things if you're already a freight dispatcher, or if you're thinking about becoming a freight dispatcher. You can implement these things and get you some good wins and get them quick, right? Get them fast. So basically, quick story. I was talking to a dispatcher, and because I talked to a lot of them, right? And they went to asking me these questions, and I'm like, it prompted me to really like make this video, right? Because I'm sitting there and I'm like, wow, what you think is the problem is really not the problem. Which kind of brings me to the first thing. We're just gonna get straight into it, because I don't know if y'all really out there that really know, a freight dispatcher can make some very, very good money, and they can make it straight from their laptop and their phone. Some people are gonna say, oh, I can do it with just my phone. Hey, look, try your luck. I would say that me that's been doing this, going on 20 years, running a business straight from your phone, a service-based business, especially dispatching, you might not provide the best service to your clients with your own operators, right? So I wouldn't really recommend that. Can you do it? Yes, but I really wouldn't recommend it. Definitely get set up and do it the right way. Have your laptop, have your phone to go with it, and get everything else that you need, right? Once again, you join the school group, come on in. I'm actually going to be releasing some free training pretty soon, and you can sign up for a paid version of training where I go in depth with all these type of things, and you can get that, and then you can learn from that, right? So let's get straight into it. Number one is this. I see, and this is across the board with business in general, but for the sake of this video, we're talking about freight dispatches. They don't even believe that it'll even work in the first place, right? They literally don't believe. So I would say one is believe. I think I spelled that. Let me see. Y'all don't clown me if I didn't, but I believe I did. Maybe I should change the F to a V. But they don't believe. You get the point. You know what I'm saying? Don't get distracted with the spelling. They don't believe. That's number one. They actually don't believe that they can actually make $1,000 a week, $2,000 a week, $3,000-$4,000 a week. Like they do not believe that, right? So by them not believing, they actually don't even start, or if they start, they are double-minded. And by their double-minded, on one hand, they think it'll work, But on the other hand, they're conflicted. You get what I'm saying? So they're constantly battling with their self. And it's like, oh, I want to do this. I think it'll work. But at the same time, on the other hand, it's like, I don't know if I really can make that much money a week from my computer, from my phone, or both, sitting at home and dispatching trucks. You get what I'm saying? Or I don't believe that I'm going to actually learn the skills to do it. I don't believe that they actually are going to pay me 8%, 9%, 10%. I don't believe that they have enough carriers to go around to where I can make some money, right? They don't believe that. They believe they heard something on Facebook or somewhere saying that the market is bad and it's wrong time to get in. It's a bunch of craziness, right? So they don't believe, and by they don't believe, they don't even put in the work, because it takes a lot of work, a lot of hard work to get into this, right? Like, especially in the beginning, you got to cold call, you got to reach out to carriers, you got to study, you got to learn how to do this, you got to, learn how to start this business. So now they don't have enough energy, right? Because creating wealth and building a business and making money is a high energy thing to do. You have to have a lot of energy. You can't be drowsy and lazy and low energy, and you got to keep your energy up, right? Because there are going to be some very hard days that you're going to have to push through, that's going to require you to have a lot of energy, right? So that's the first thing. They actually don't even believe that it's possible, right? The next thing is, because I got some notes in my phone, right? By they don't believe, they haven't really made a real decision on actually doing it. The decision that they made is actually a temporary decision, right? It's not like concrete, right? So 2 is not making a decision, right? So they haven't really made a decision. You get what I'm saying? What I mean by that is, when you make a decision, right? A decision is not you choose. A decision is you cut off every other possibility or every other thing, and you're going to do this, right? Not, well, I'm going to choose one, because what happens is when you choose one, you have options. And most of the time, people will choose one, and then when this is not kind of working out, they'll go over here and do that. For example, a lot of people that I've noticed that do freight dispatching or want to open up a freight dispatching business, they'll be doing like a lot of other stuff online. So it's kind of like they'll do like a Shopify store, or they'll do Amazon, or they'll do like wholesaling or real estate, or they'll do like all kind of other stuff. You get what I'm saying? And they don't actually commit to freight dispatching, like actually doing a freight dispatch business, right? They're all over the place. They kind of want to do this business online, but like they're kind of like, well, I'll try this, but if this don't work out, I'll do this and whatever. So they actually don't go all in and make that decision. That's what making a decision is cutting off everything else and going all in on this, right? So, and with that being said, the next thing is, which is a big one, very, very, very big one, right? No clarity on the niche. Very big. That's really, believe is not believing, and believing is number one, but trust me. I want to just sit here on this one, and I want to stress this one out. If there's nothing else that most freight dispatchers do, or if they don't have one problem, most freight dispatchers, when they're starting out, even when they're, have done it for a while, they got this problem right here. They don't have a niche. Don't have it. They do not have a niche. I promise you. I've coached them. I got people in my group. I've done coaching calls, one-on-ones, consultations. Listen, most freight dispatchers, most people in business, period, but I promise you, most freight dispatchers, they do not niche down. They don't do it. They have a flyer. They create this flyer. They go to, Fiverr or whatever, or they do it themselves. And they create this flyer, right? And on this flyer is going to say, I specialize in dry vans, reefer, flatbed, hotshot, and box truck. What? What do you mean? How can you be the best at what you do when you're doing all of these different things? There's no way that you know that you're an expert at all these things. Look, we're not going to go deep into that because I want to keep the video short, but you got to niche down. You have to niche down. If you're going to do box trucks, only do box trucks. And then when you get into box trucks, find out what's the sub niches, right? You do box trucks, and then you can do box trucks that's refrigerated box trucks, right? You could do box trucks, refrigerated box trucks that haul hazmat, tankers, right? So you got box trucks, refrigerated box trucks. Then you got refrigerated box trucks, hazmat, right? Tankers. That's a specific niche that you can go after. Let's say you're doing dry vans. Well, you can do dry vans that does, like building materials or electronics or hazmat and tankers or whatever, right? Now, with that being said, brings me right into my next one. Even though the ones that do pick a niche, they pick the wrong niche, right? And what do I mean by the wrong niche? It doesn't really matter what niche you pick. They got money in all of the niches, right? The riches are in the niches, right? So they got money in all of them, right? But at the same time, understand this. You got to understand, what type of business do you want to build? Are you building a business for you? Most of the time when freight dispatchers start out, they're building a business for themselves. They don't have a team. They don't have a bunch of people, working with them like me. I have a team. I have a whole team that works with me, right? But most of the time when people start out and they want to start a dispatching company, they're by themselves, right? They're doing the dispatching, they're doing the package, they're doing everything. They're doing the sales calls, the recruiting, the content, they're doing everything, right? So if that's the case, you need to be exchanging your time for the biggest ROI as possible. What do I mean when I say ROI? Return on investment, right? You need to be going after, when you dispatch a load, first of all, when you get a client, you need to get the best client that's out there. When you actually start dispatching and you getting loads, you need to be dispatching the biggest paying loads that's out there, right? You don't need to be going after the dry van market, and it's just dry van. They're probably paid the lowest. I think box trucks are making more than dry vans now, right? So what do? You pick a better niche that's paying more, that's more specialized, that's going to need a more specialized freight dispatcher, right? Someone, if they got 100 dispatchers, how are you going to stand out? Think about that. You need to be able to stand out in the market. Like myself, my freight dispatching company, we only deal with flatbeds, step decks, and low boys, which is RGNs, right? Removable goosenecks, right? We don't do hot shots. We don't do dry vans. We don't do box trucks. We don't do reefers. We don't do sprinter vans. We don't do none of that. And I get people that hit me up all the time on social media, text, email, and they beg, can you please help me? No, because I'll be doing you a disservice. I spend all my time, me and my team, study and go all in on open deck and mostly specialized freight, heavy haul, over-dimensional loads. That's our jam. We don't even deal with hazmat. We will in the future, but we're gonna jam with this and become the best, biggest freight dispatching company there is in this niche. Guess what? If we do that, oh, not if, when we do that, we don't need 100 carriers. Why? Because in my niche, the average carrier, well, I'm gonna say what the average dry van or reefer gets, though they might get from a low end, if they charge 10%, well, grossing out, they're getting anywhere from 5,000 to 7,000 right now. And that's running legal miles, 2 to 3,000 miles a week. Let's say that. They even might get up to 3,400. That's in a van and probably reefer as well, right? But in heavy haul, specialized freight, over-dimensional loads, they're making anywhere from 6,500 on a low to anywhere from like 15,000. All right. Now, which one would you rather get if you're charging 10%, 8%, whatever it is? Would you want to get 10% of that one, 5,000 to 7,000, or 10% of 6,500 to 15,000? All right. Now there's some details in this, right? Like we charge depending on what deal we make. We might charge the 10% or whatever after the permits and escorts. Just depends on what type of deal we make with the carrier, right? But understand, we're almost making most of the time double of what the dry van and reefer market is making. So we're getting like it's like 2 to 1. So if they sign on 20 carriers, I only have to sign on 10. That's called a specialized niche, right? Being special, niching down, right? Now, with that being said, you got to study, you got to know what you're doing. You have to be good at what you do, because these guys and women, they want someone that's going to really do their job. They're not playing. Like you got to do more. There's more to do over here than over here, right? There's a lot more to do, right? Over here, there's you got to understand weight more, permits, escorts, route survey, machinery type. You know what I mean? It's a lot more going on, but it's worth it. It's worth learning this, because when you learn how to do this type of stuff, you earn more money, right? And guess what? They will pay you. You know why? And understand this. They're not paying you really more money. The dry van guy is going to give you 8 to 10%, whatever it is that you charge. No difference than the open deck guy is going to give you. It's still a percent. It's still the same thing. You have more skills. So by you having more skills, you're more valuable. And by you more valuable, you're going to make more money. So let's go on ahead and go into number 5. And that's going to be, they don't go all in, right? Oops. They don't go all in. And what do I mean by like going all in? Okay. Once again, like up here, not really making that decision. They don't really go all in and say, you know what, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to start this business. I'm going to be a freight dispatcher. I'm going to be the best freight dispatcher that I can possibly be, right? Because there's no competition with nobody else. Whatever's for you is for you. They don't go all in, and they don't study everything on marketing, right? How to market their business. They don't study everything on whatever niche they're in. Like, for example, I'm in the open deck niche, right? So they don't actually study about open deck, where the freight is, how to get the freight, which is the best load board, learning carriers, going looking in Facebook group, just seeing how they talk, what's the lingo they use. And they don't invest in a coach. They don't, invest in certain books to read or certain online courses. They're probably spending money on playing around and some stuff for the weekend and going out to eat and going to the club or whatever it is that going on vacation, whatever it is that you know what you do, instead of buying that coaching, that online course, or instead of buying that book that you could have read, or instead of sitting down and watching YouTube for 5 hours or 6, 7 hours like you at college or whatever, and sitting down with a pen and pad and watching videos like this and you're learning, right? They're not investing, they're not going all in. You get what I'm saying? So when they don't go all in, they don't actually get the payoff. You get what I'm saying? You know, what don't they get? Well, they don't get 10% of 6,500, which is 650 a week for one carrier, right? Or 1,500 a week for one carrier. Just had to throw that out there, right? This took me time to learn this, and I've been in trucking for 20 years. And I still had to study. I still had to learn. I still up on game and do certain things even now. I don't allow myself to get rusty, right? You know, that's why one of the things is that I coach and I teach, because it helps me stay sharp. But anyway, with that being said, listen, I'm gonna do a part 2 to this video. I have some other things as well, but I want to keep it short, right? Because I want people to watch it and I want them to take action, right? I don't want the video to be so long and then they kind of like forget some stuff. Look at these things, replay the video, right? If you're a freight dispatcher or you want to be a freight dispatcher, please check it out. Look, go back through the video, check it all out. Believe that you can do it, right? Understand you can do it. It's not that hard, I promise you, right? It's the hardest thing is changing your mindset and you actually put it into work. That's really it, right? So believe that you can get it done. You get what I'm saying? Make a decision. Make a decision. Like, seriously, make a decision. Stop going back and forth and being double-minded. The Bible says that a double-minded man shall be unstable in all his ways. That means everything that he does, if he's double-minded, if he's over here, but then he over here, he's going to be unstable, meaning it's not going to work out for you. So if you're going to do this, go all in with your dispatching business, right? Get clarity on a niche, right? Search out the niches. Look and see which niche, you know, you prefer to go in. Do you want to build a team? Do you just want it to be like solo? Or, you know, maybe you, a small team, whatever like that. Do you like drive-in more? Do you like box trucks more? You know, maybe you know some people that's already in the box truck game or in the flatbed game, whatever like that. If you want to, you know, get in the open deck game, once again, hit the link below and I can help you with that, right? Pick the right niche. After you do your research with the niche, pick the right niche that works for you. And once you do all that, go all in, all right? Go all in, give it everything you got and do the work. With that being said, I'll catch y'all in the next video. Once again, if you like the video, hit the thumbs up. If you like what I got going on the channel, subscribe to the channel, right? And the link is below if you need any help with any of this we just went over, all right? Cool. See you in the next video. Peace.